The fantasy season is over, but that means it's the perfect time for some dynasty buys or sells. I'm going to walk you through 6 players that should be getting traded, either buying or selling in your dynasty leagues right now. The first one, Rashee Rice. I feel like I've been banging the drum for this one over the last 10 weeks, and I'm going to continue banging the drum over the entire offseason. Rashee Rice, he is still undervalued. This is a guy that was a top 5 dynasty wide receiver at the point in which he got injured. That injury has now served its time. When it comes to point scoring season again in September, he's going to be back on the field. The only reason he is not a top 5 dynasty wide receiver is because of this potential looming suspension. Even if it's worst case scenario, he gets suspended for 4, maybe 8 games. He's still undervalued. This is a guy who should be in your top 10 wide receivers of anyone's rankings, and he's currently going outside the top 12. Current price on Keep Trade Cut is a mid-2025 first-round pick. In my values, I'd pay 2 first-rounders for him right now. I think if you are not going and inquiring about the price on Rashee Rice right now, you're doing yourself a disservice, because this is a guy that is going to skyrocket in value as soon as he gets back on the field. We know what he can do with the ball in his hands, and I've got no concerns about the injury lingering into the 2025 season. The next guy I'm looking to sell, though, Saquon Barkley. This is the perfect dynasty sell. He has had a phenomenal season, absolutely record-breaking. He was a league winner for fantasy, but he's 28 years old. We're potentially coming off one of the most efficient seasons ever. He's seen a huge volume of touches. That is always the time at which you want to be looking to get out on running backs. The reason being is that everybody's looking at you going, why would you want to sell Saquon Barkley right now? He's a league winner. He's a superstar. That's when you sell your running backs. I also think that anytime any back is coming off this sort of volume of touches, you want to be looking to get out. I'd happily take a kind of a mid, maybe even early first round pick, but I think you can get even more than that right now. I saw him traded for the 102 and the 105 in a league just yesterday. And I also think that maybe if you were going to pivot from Saquon Barkley to another running back, that may get you a better deal in the long haul. If you could move Saquon Barkley for somebody like someone like a James Cook plus, you might even get James Cook plus a first. Can you buy back significant years? Can you get Tyron Tracy plus a first? Can you get, Tank Bigsby plus maybe 2 assets on top? Yes, it's a tier down at the running back position, but you're getting significant draft capital on top. I just worry that if Saquon Barkley gets nicked up in the playoffs or perhaps has a slow start to next season, at 28 years old, his value is going to plummet. We see it time and time again with running backs. I think he's got a limited shelf life, and in the offseason, you always want to be selling running backs. Another sale, Lad McConkey. Look, he's had a phenomenal season. He has been absolutely mind-blowing as a pure route runner and separator. He's been one of the best in the league, not just as a rookie, the best in the league. Now, my concern is that I think Lad McConkey, and I think the Chargers view Lad McConkey as more of a 1B, a Devonta Smith type. And I think they're going to be looking to go and acquire their AJ Brown this offseason, whether that's drafting a high-priced superstar, whether that's going out and trading for a veteran, or maybe throwing a huge boatload of money at someone like T. Higgins. If that happens, I think that Lad McConkey is going to see increased target competition, and that could reduce his upside, his value. This is a guy who's fringe top 12 wide receiver in Keep Trade Cut and Dynasty circles right now. So I'd sell for a mid first. I think you can probably get more Keep Trade Cuts for his value around that sort of 102, 103 range. If you can get maybe 2 assets, can you go and, I've seen the trade straight up for Marvin Harrison. Can you get Marvin Harrison plus an asset? Can you do something like that? I just think you need to be sniffing around what the value is on Lad McConkey, because I am concerned if they do spend big to bring somebody in, it could knock his overall dynasty value, but also his fantasy upside. If you are here and you haven't hit that subscribe button, we are heading into rookie season, and you know that's where I go into overdrive. We have got a phenomenal slate of guests lined up for the entirety of January, February, March, all the way into April as we head towards the rookie drafts. Jaylen Waddle, I've talked about him a couple of times. He is absolutely a buy. Tyreek Hill wants out. The Dolphins are locked into this core. They're bringing back the head coach. They're bringing back the GM. They've got very few assets to move. I think Jaylen Waddle is due for a massive bounce back season in 2025. And his value is at an all-time low. You can get him for a late first-round pick, according to Keep Trade Cut. I'd pay a mid-first for him, so there's an easy difference there. I think Jaylen Waddle is a guy who's had a really challenging year. The Dolphins had a really bad year, but I think he's due for a massive bounce back. And if Tyreek Hill is traded, the sky's the limit for Jaylen Waddle. My final sell, though, Joe Mixon. Similar to Saquon Barkley, this is just always be selling running backs in the offseason. He's going into his age 29 season. I'm concerned that the Texans could bring in some competition. I'm concerned that there could be a change in offensive coordinator and what that does for this run-first offense. I just think that Joe Mixon had a phenomenal season. But anytime you can get a first-round pick for a 29-year-old running back that has some concerns about what we could look like going into next season, you've got to be doing that on that running back right now. And then the final buy, Breece Hall. Look, the stink is real. The Jets were woeful this year. I'm speaking as a Jets fan. Trust me, it was not good to watch. But I think the Jets are going to go back to basics, reinvest in the offensive line. We're going to see a new play caller, a new quarterback. And I think that this could really do good for Breece Hall. He didn't look as sharp as he did in 2023. And I think an offseason further removed from that significant injury could be good for his upside. So I put out some rankings on Twitter the other day and everyone was gobsmacked. He shouldn't be in the top 5 running backs. He shouldn't be in the top 6 running backs. I still think he's an elite talent. I still think this offense is going to run through him. And I think that stink of the Jets is going to potentially lower his value, so you can go out and buy for that kind of early to mid first round pick. And that is it. 3 buys, 3 sells. Let me know who you disagree with. Who are you buying in Dynasty Leagues right now? Ahead of rookie drafts, who do you think could see that big spike in value as we move through the offseason? Let me know in the comments below.